Hello, everyone. I'm here with Just Ask M podcast. We have Miss Maritza in the house, owner of She Did That, straight from Maryland. Introduce yourself, mamas.
Hello, everyone. I am Maritza Williams. Thank you so much, Emily, for having me. I'm super excited
Absolutely.
for our conversation today.
Yes, thank you. So, my gosh, you were like a little drop out of heaven. You found me on social media. How did that happen?
That's a great question.
I love when it happens like that.
So with my page, she did that. I come across a lot of different women, whether you're connected from somebody else, it's like a huge web, right? And so I will just reach out to women and see that they're, excuse me, what it is that they're doing. And on my page, I like to celebrate them, celebrate what it is that they're doing, to do different things like your podcast and, everything else that you have going on. Send a quick message, see if you're interested. And
Yeah,
here we are.
I love it. All right. I mean, yeah, so it's always like I feel like the LinkedIn has been a really big one lately, and Instagram is just like kind of crazy how out of this whole world specific people find you, but then like it ends up relating so well, which is kind of just crazy how it all works out.
Exactly. I've been able to meet so many women
I love it.
through just this one Instagram page that I just started a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm up to, I believe it's like 4,500 followers, which
Nice.
I mean, compared to, just, and I don't like to
Yeah.
compare. So, but if to have 4,500 people just click, like, yes, we want to follow you. Yes, we're interested.
Right.
Um, that was huge to me. And so then I started to reach out to a lot of women and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just have conversations and
That's all,
I've
yeah.
been able to be part of podcasts like today. I've been invited to different conferences to be able to speak
Mhm,
on different topics. A lot on like divorce and
mhm.
fear and um, uh, mental health or mental wellness.
Yes.
As a cognitive behavioral therapist, I work a lot with mental wellness. And
Okay.
so um, w- I've been able to just talk about all kinds of stuff and connect with so many people that are doing amazing things. So,
Well, and that's what I always say. I think a lot of the times people get stuck on like, oh, like the numbers of like followers. But at the end of the day, it's like who really knows 50,000 people versus like, yeah, it's 4,500, but it's 4,500 quality people. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's definitely more of a strength in that than just this huge number. Because it's just like out of all those
absolutely.
people, like how many are you doing this with? You know, how many are
Yeah.
you send me the email of, what's my business, stemming from? What's the details of it? What was your inspiration? Those types of things. And I feel like these days everything's so rush, or people aren't taking the time to get to know people. So many people know people, but how many people like actually, you know, really know who people are and what they do. So you slightly answered kind of like a little bit about your background and who you are. So as many women, we're the Jane of many trades and have like more than three things going on. What's a little bit about you and your background?
So, as I previously mentioned, I am a certified cognitive behavioral therapist clinician. And so, what that means is, and I also work with the offender population in DC. So, all of my clients are either on probation or parole, and we work on anger management, we work on just all things. When it deals with cognitive behavioral health. Like what does that mean? Just the way we think, it's going to determine how we feel, which determines how we behave, right? So that's one part of one hat that I wear. Then I also do a lot of workshops, like I said earlier, on mental wellness and basically taking care of um, our mindset, our way of thinking intentionally. So you know how we will like do exercise and try to eat healthy and try to take care of our bodies intentionally,
Mhm.
doing the same thing with our mental health. So, setting
Absolutely.
ourselves up, being proactive with our mental health. What are we listening to? What are we reading? What are we watching? Are we feeding our mindset, something that's going to be motivating and positive and productive? Um, and at the same time being intentional with winding down at the end of the day, relaxing. How do
Oh,
we,
yeah.
shut her down? Because, and let me tell you,
It
as
ain't easy.
somebody also with ADHD, I struggle with the shutdown because I have that my once my creative mind starts
Mhm.
going, oh man, it's so
Yeah,
hard
been
to shut it down.
struggling with that, and I'm just like, "Can you just, like, quit for a minute, please?"
Yes. And so being intentional with what that looks like. How do I shut her down on purpose? If I know that I'm like creating something or, online creating things or whatever,
Mhm.
at night, I'm done for. I
Yeah.
totally screw myself up, but if I, sit down and read a book or, do something that just like is mindless, puzzle, listening to music, soft music versus like, bachata and
Right?
reggaeton.
Yeah, you don't wanna dance in your sleep.
So just being intentional with our
Yeah.
minds, like it's so important. It's so important to, a lot of people experience like Monday morning blues, or like I have a very long commute from Maryland to DC.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe in the morning I have, well, in the morning is 1 hour going, but because I don't have traffic, but then it's an hour and a half to 2 hours coming home. I am listening to I'm listening to something that's going to pump me up.
Yes,
That's like
you
motivating
have to.
me,
It's like
a
a little road trip.
podcast, an audiobook. Right now I've read, I'm on my third round of Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, which is all about mindset.
Yeah.
Um, so getting myself pumped up so that way I don't feel that like, ugh, sluggish feeling
Yeah.
in the morning. But then at the end of the day, because I've basically been listening to all kinds of people's, issues throughout the day,
Yeah. You're
I
absorbing
need
that.
to decompress. I need to let it
Detox.
go. I need to shut it down. I need to
Mhm.
detach. And so there I'm listening to like, something that's a little bit more fun, either the music. That's when the reggaeton and bachata come in. I'm like, yes, like
You gotta match
I
the energy
unwind.
and then okay, okay, okay.
Now let's like bring her down. Um, but just being doing things like that on
Right.
purpose, because we have to take care of our mindset. Like we go
Yeah,
through so many things
and
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 stressors and
I think it helps with, like, the mindfulness, like you said, the intentionality of, "Okay, I know what I've done all day, it's been a long day, I need to decompress, I wanna do it before I actually get home." And that also, like, heightens the mindfulness of just, like, other areas in life or reading the room or reading when somebody might be trying to have a conversation with you, but they're not mentally there and like seeing that and not just continuing to talk or not paying attention to like that body language or what you're seeing. But so now what led you to that career that you're doing today?
so I grew up in a home where it wasn't like the healthiest as far as
Mhm.
like just the dynamics and the almost like a DV home, right? And so I always felt that if somebody would were to be able to help the person that was um, you know, the one that was struggling in the home, then I probably wouldn't have gone through all of the things that I've gone through in
Mhm.
my life.
Right.
And so I during my adolescence, I went to therapy,
Okay.
and I had somebody to talk to. Where as a kid, I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. I
Mhm.
had this woman to talk to, and she helped me so much with like everything that I had going on and had experienced and the traumas and all of the things. And so um, I felt like I want to be like her when I grow up. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And so, and I want to be able to help people that were struggling like my dad was struggling. And so, and break that cycle of just
Yeah.
mental and emotional and physical abuse and just be able to do things differently.
Mhm.
And so, and I wound up in my excuse me, where I work, working with that population, specifically in with domestic violence and um, all sorts of things that people struggle with. In order to be able to help a family, I felt like, okay, if I can help you, then hopefully I'm also helping your children, your
Right.
partners, you know what I mean? Whoever
Mhm.
is in your family dynamic that could be
Yeah.
struggling because of your struggles. And so that's kind of like how I came to this profession, and I absolutely love it. I love
Good.
what I do.
That's
I
important.
love helping people. And the best part of it is when they come back and, either give me a phone call or come back. Just this week, as a matter of fact, I had a client who said, "Hey, Miss Ace, are you still doing your groups? Can I come to one of your groups?" And of course, I'm just like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody who at one point what felt forced, and so therefore there was a lot of resistance, is now
Asking
volunteering.
right.
You know what I mean? That to me is such a huge compliment because I feel like I did something right by you. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
I don't always know, but I feel like, okay, when you call me and let me know, your updates and stuff, it's like, okay, I did
It's
something
a
that
rewarding
made you
feeling.
feel like it does. It's
Yeah.
the best feeling. It's better than any grade anybody could give me as far as like, my upper management or whatever. No,
Yeah.
those phone calls, those people coming back,
Right.
just thank you is everything.
And I think, and like I said, I mean, that completely answers my next question of, what is your passion and what makes you eager to help others. And I think a lot of the time it's not very often that the response of wanting to help others is actually, personally related to your story. So that in itself makes it even better. But also the people you're helping, it enhances them seeing that not only do you genuinely enjoy, what you do, but you're genuinely there to help them, and you're not just helping them for, a check or, well, because I have to do it, this and that, because people feel those things, especially, in customer
They
service,
do.
client service, patient, care. And I think a lot of the time, like the world we live in, the times we're in, so much of that small, simple detail has gone out the window, where, everything's a bother, or it's just, rushed customer service, or nobody's genuinely empathizing with you when you're sharing, something you might be going through, or a story of yours. And I dislike it so much because that's literally what humanity is or should be. So to see it go so far out the window, it's such a challenge. And what happens is when find these individuals or these like smaller businesses, well, you're like, wow, it's like a hope. It's a hope for people in the sense of, okay, there's somebody out there still who genuinely wants to help me. They're not judging me, they're not helping me based on like my status or what like my past is. And when we had previously spoke, I think one of the most amazing stories that you had was, in your career, the help that you give and hope for others was one of, one of the previous parolees. Is that how you address them? The parolees that, he came to
Oh, my
you and,
client.
yeah, when your clients, and then, he did some time and didn't think that, like, it's kind of like, what is the next step for them after such a long time of being
Uh,
in that environment?
yes, I remember now who you're talking about. Yes, so the client he had served quite a bit of time. It was 20, if I remember correctly, which one you're talking about is either 24 years or another client who served 17 years.
The 17
Um,
one.
17. Okay.
Mhm.
So that client, he we were working on, okay, yes, what are the next steps as far as like employment goes? Like that's what he was focusing on
Mhm.
at the moment. And he felt extremely insecure because he had served so much time behind bars
Yeah.
that he felt like, who's gonna want me, right?
Mhm.
Well, then I was like, okay, let's dig a little deeper as far as like, what did you do during that time? Did you,
Mhm.
take any courses? Did you work any jobs? Because depending on the institutes, they could have different programs in order for them to elevate, whether
Okay.
it's vocational programs um, or employment programs, job programs. And so this client had uh, all sorts of certifications on horticulture. And he had himself a picture of himself, beautiful picture, because it was like all of this like greenery. He was
Yeah.
in a greenhouse, and he's just in the middle, pure joy. Like all you saw in that picture was pure joy. Like he was serving his purpose
Mhm.
while incarcerated.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, this is what I did. And I'm like, okay, tell me more about that. This client had created curriculum to help with, and also was a teacher assistant in the horticulture program where he was at.
Okay.
And he also worked as a salesperson because I guess they had like where they would sell like what they grew,
Okay.
and so
Yeah.
plants and stuff or whatever. And so, he was working in the sales, he was working in the education piece. He was wearing all of these hats, and I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? And so just to be able to tell him, okay, now that you've now that you're out here, you're no longer within those walls. Now you're
Right.
outside. Please tell me you packed your skills with you. And he looks at me like, what? I'm like, you still have those skills,
Right.
correct?
Right.
Like you still can you still work in a greenhouse? Can you still talk to people about you could still do all of these things.
Right.
So now let's put that on paper and see what this looks like. Let me tell you, that client walked out of that room with a whole resume because I'll help them with resumes, with a whole resume, feeling so good about himself. And I'm like, all right,
You're
now it's
ready to
your turn. Go
go.
put that to good use.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he got himself a job
Nice.
working at the where they sell the plants and stuff at Home Depot.
Oh,
The
like a
what do you call it?
nursery.
Yes,
Yes.
that's where he's at.
Very
And
nice.
so it's like, just meeting people and just to see the how they walk in with like slouched and just not
Discouraged.
feeling good
Yeah.
about themselves. To then walk like with their head held high and glowing because they
Mhm.
see themselves on paper and see that it's like, you are worth something.
Right.
You know
And
what I
like I
mean?
said, that's what humanity, should be like, and it's free to give of, you
Seeing
know,
the positives in people, seeing,
yeah.
what it is that like don't focus on the
Yeah.
negative side.
Mhm.
Focus on what you got out of it. Focus on the positives. What do you have to offer? You clearly have a whole list of things to offer. The fact that
Mhm.
you even put that time to good use, you should be proud of yourself because not everybody does that.
And a lot of the time, like
So
you said, it's that mindset, and perspective. And, we're human,
exactly.
and sometimes it's naturally to get like discouraged. And that's definitely the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people in those moments of, hey, I had confidence in myself at the top of the week, but at the end of the week, I'm not feeling that same energy. And sometimes you just need that second pair of eyes to remind you of the potential that's already there that you sometimes forget that you actually have.
Yeah,
And I
that
think
can help you get rid of some limiting beliefs that you have.
yeah, and I think it's a matter of normalizing that too, where like everybody always has it together on social media. Everybody's, always living their best life, this and that. And it's like you may be. You there are some days that you may be. But then as humans and naturally with the stresses of life and everything's not always just up and up, you know, there's gonna be some days where you're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay, and also in those moments of not feeling okay, call somebody, text somebody, hang out with somebody, have a conversation, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be a conversation about, whatever might have you a little thrown off or discouraged or your energy down. Sometimes it can just, like you said, that positivity, that energy, just restoring hope for somebody where it's just like nothing is really ever the end of the world unless it's something like really terminal or detrimental. You know what I mean? So a lot of the time, I think it's just that hope and staying afloat just enough not to ignore the issue, but like, hey, you can get out of this. Hey, you can, this is an end all be all. You can work towards it and still rise above it. Not maybe tomorrow or next month. Some things take longer, but it's not impossible. So I think it was really nice you reaching out to me when you did. And I had to look because I was like, is this some spam stuff? Because I was like, why does it do this? I said, this is so like caring. I said, somebody wants to like know everything about me. Like, this is nice. So you should have like seen me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm down for any exposure, like networking. So I always got my little organized folders of my logos, my headshots. And I'm like, and I think the beauty of it, number one, yes, I'm all about the women empowerment, this and that, but all together, anybody and everybody, men, women, everything in between, whatever the case may be. I
Absolutely.
think like the beauty of somebody reaching out and saying, "Hey, what do you do?" or "Hey, I do this and I want to highlight you." When I'm typing it, it's actually reminding me, yeah, what do I do? What am I doing? Well, I started there, but now I've evolved to this. So I think there's such a beauty in like the networking and just remembering to talk to people because it kind of relights that fire in yourself of entrepreneurship. That ain't easy. Entrepreneurship plus a day job plus this and that, it's not easy. Like I'm tired. You get tired, you get, your mind gets tired, and when your mind gets tired, it makes everything else seem, bigger than you again. So things like that are encouraging in itself, where it's just like, okay, I'm doing this. I created that. I built this. This is where I am now. Okay. It reminds you of those like accomplishments and those things. So like even with your client, yeah, you started out here, you had to do your time because that's just the way it was set up. Fast forward, you made it through. And yes, it's the end of that part of that chapter, but now, hey, it's okay to start a new one. And I think it's huge on normalizing that much more these days because nothing is perfect, nobody is perfect. And even if you've done good, bad, people still, even if you've done good for this amount of time, you still might fall. And guess what? You just get back up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think that like that personally relates, to you in your life. And you told me about your current, relationship now, and it wasn't that before, which kind of led into you are now writing a book that is called From Fear to Freedom. So talk a little bit about that.
So, uh, six, 6 or 7 years ago,
That
I
means you're happy.
was
You're
going.
not stuck on dates.
What's that?
I said that means you're happy. You're not super focused on dates.
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all. So I was going through a divorce. I was going through a difficult time in my life
Hmm.
where I was coming to terms with the fact that things aren't what I would like them to be, and I was going into my 40s, and so I started to like really reflect on where am I headed, and realizing I don't like it. You know what I mean? I was going to be turning 40, but I felt like I was going to be turning 50.
Yeah.
Like life was just really weighing on me,
Hmm.
and there was all sorts of things that I was dealing with. But as I got through that stage in my life, um, I was approached by a lot of women who were also struggling and wanting to learn and know, like, how did you get through it? How did you get out? What did you do? And one thing that we all had in common was fear. Fear of, um, am I going to be able to make it? How am I going to be able to, support my kids, take care of my kids?
Yeah, especially with
Um,
kids.
like all of these insecurities, all of
Mhm.
these doubts, all of this negative self talk, there was just so much to really change perspective on, to change, how I was thinking about myself, and realize that I can do things like
Mhm.
on my own. I can, but I mean, mind you, that relationship was 23 years.
Wow.
And so also having to like let go of what you thought was going to be,
Right.
and wipe the slate clean. To wipe that slate clean, that's scary,
Oh, yeah.
because then it's like, now what?
And I think
And
the most difficult thing is what you just said of wiping the slate clean and not looking at starting over like a negative thing. That's probably one of the most challenging things.
because it's scary. It's
Mhm.
scary. Not only is it scary to live a life accustomed to having somebody to kind of like bounce ideas off of
Mhm.
and make decisions with, to then being the sole person that makes decisions.
Saw you,
And then
right.
you have, your children that are depending on
Yeah,
you that, are affected by those decisions. And so, it was a lot to get through.
a
It
lot
was
of
a lot
adjusting.
here to, yes, a major adjustment. Um, and so as I'm going through it and then also talking to people about it, it was also part of like my healing process. And then also coming to terms with the fact that, there's so many women that are struggling as I was. I want to be able to help them. I
Yeah,
want to be able to help them get out if that's the answer for you. If you've identified that as the answer for you, but you're not because of all of these, fears and insecurities that you have, let's work through that.
yeah,
Because for me, I know I stayed in my previous season for at least 13 years longer than I probably should have.
yeah.
And it was because of like all of these things. And we were also dealing with like mental health on, their side of, things.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, and I kind of use that as an excuse as to,
Yeah, you
well,
take the
I
blame.
help people as a living,
Mhm.
for a living.
Yeah.
Why can't I help this person?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like the person that's supposed to be the closest to me, why can't we
Yeah.
get this right?
And
And
and I think
so,
that there's an importance in that as well as there's nothing wrong with trying to help people, but then there's also that acceptance and awareness of you can only help people to a certain point before it doesn't make sense because it's taking from you. And I think
and you can
women
only help people that want to be helped. If
well,
somebody doesn't want to
exactly.
be helped,
Yep.
then there's nothing that you can do because they're not going to fix a problem that they don't see as a problem,
Right. Mhm.
right? If you don't see the issue, then what are you fixing?
You're just talking in
You
the
know
air.
what I mean? That's anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no if I don't see that I'm causing an issue by, I don't know, what I like, think of like alcoholics, right? Some people are very much functioning alcoholics. So
Mhm.
then it's like, why am I gonna quit? I'm not
Mhm.
bothering anybody. I work, I
Right.
function. So I don't have a problem. There's not a
Mhm.
problem. But is it a problem? Yeah, it could be a problem for many
Mhm.
reasons. But they have to be able to recognize it as a problem in
Mhm.
order for them to be willing to change anything. And so it just became that became the issue where it's like, okay, if you can't see it as an issue, then there's nothing I can do. And being able to come to terms with that is hard.
Right.
Um, Especially in my profession, it's like you want to be
You
able to
can't
help,
help but
but
want to help. Literally.
yeah, I can't shut that down. It
Right.
just
Yeah.
it's just who I am.
So now when does your book actually come out?
So the goal is for it to be towards the end of this year,
Nice.
October, like fall into winter frame. That's the goal for the book. I'm super excited about it. In the book, I talk about it's not so the book is my story is around my divorce
Mhm.
and all the things that came with that, but I also give like lessons learned and I
Good.
provide tips and
Mhm.
exercises and reflection on, so that way it could help somebody get through whatever their process is, whether it is divorce or is some other type of,
Mhm.
situation or fears that they're needing to get through.
Yeah.
So I share story and lessons, and then there's exercises and stuff. That's
And I yeah, and I
how
think
I
that's
go
so
about.
important simply because, like, you can sit here and tell somebody your story, and then it's like, "Okay." Whereas,
Yes.
you know that now, like, this was my story. This is what I did to either deal with it, get through it, or get better from it. Because, like you said, somebody's situation might not be exactly the same, but it could relate. So giving those lessons can kind of help them pick and choose what information they can use to be like, let me try that because that might be beneficial to my situation. And then just like any questions, helping them reflect on, well, what is my situation? Is there a problem with my situation and what is it? And then, okay, what can I do to address or fix it? And I think a lot of the time there's such an art in that, but it's kind of nice to learn that art, um, because when you're speaking with different people, you see people light up when they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're not only telling me your story, you're giving me helpful tips, you're giving me guides, lessons, that sort of thing." Where, some people just say their story and then, okay, that's great that that's your story and I hear you, but how does that help me? And it's not to like in a selfish way, but it's just like that common
Yeah.
ground, like you said, of building bridges on how can we relate? How can we feed off of, one another and kind of just building those pieces of getting better women, whether it's insecurities in the relationships or regular relationships. How can we collaborate versus, competing or not building off each other or empowering one another. So when you reached out, I seen your process and then it was a kind of a long time that had passed. So when you messaged me and said your highlight will be live, I'm like, can you refresh my memory? I've been doing so much like networking and like talking with people. I said, oh my God, I felt so bad. I said, I hope this doesn't come off rude. But then when you told me, I was like, oh yeah. And then like when I seen the post, like I know I'm so corny. I got a little emotional because like you said, just putting it all into perspective and I'm like swiping and I'm like, wow, that's me. You know what I mean?
There is something about that moment, and
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. That goes back to why I help my clients with like their resumes.
you're right.
Something about seeing
Uh-huh.
yourself on paper or on the screen, or it's like, wow, that's me,
Yeah, because you're in,
And
I'm
so,
in it. I'm the owner. I'm the boss. I'm the payroll. I'm the creating this and that. So it's like when you see it from the outside in, it's like, oh, I have been doing something right. And I guess
yeah,
it's just that rewarding
exactly.
feeling altogether.
It's, I love it with every woman to be able to post about their story and um, just getting those responses of just
Hmm.
being so excited to see themselves. It's so worth putting every single story together.
And my knowledge of technology is so limited. I said, I don't care. I'm doing it the old school. I should have screenshotted the Instagram pages. I said, I'll get this to TikTok somehow. I sat there, I
Yeah,
cropped, I,
it works.
did everything, but because I was like, no, like this
It
is a
works.
proud moment, and
Yeah,
and I think there's a magic in that, like when other people are rooting for each other, it's not like, oh,
right.
you don't have to be that excited. Like, no, be excited, celebrate it
Excited
all,
and
like,
yes, celebrate
absolutely,
yourself. Like
yes,
celebrate everything that you're doing. Like be able to reflect on that. Be able
hmm
to see that all your hard work, how it comes together and what
right,
that looks like from the outside in. And just be proud of it, Like
and that's a
I think
happiness within itself.
I'm sorry?
And that's a happiness within itself. I think if more people did that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So for me, I because of how I grew up, there was a lot of built up of insecurities, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to have to be able to work on that and
Mhm.
chip away at that, um, to be able to then see the value in
Mhm.
myself, it was life changing.
And I
It
think
was
that's
life
great that it
changing
was something that was a negative for you, you turned it into a positive
into a
to help
positive.
others.
I didn't
Yeah.
think I'd be able to like go to school, for example, because
Mhm.
I always felt like I wasn't smart enough to do so. And
Mhm.
that's just all the years of insecurities. And so um to be able to like actually bring my daughters to my graduation and walk the stage and my
Yeah.
girls watch me, that was huge. That was like such a huge moment for me to be
Mhm.
able to like because I believed in myself, I was able to do this because I wanted to show my girls that, we could break through
Break
all
the
of those things.
barriers. Yeah.
All the barriers, all the things that,
Mhm.
the things that we experienced, the traumas that we went through, the
Mhm.
negative self-talk, the years of emotional and mental abuse, like all of these things
Mhm.
and still come out on the other side
Mhm.
smiling and so much better
And
than
stronger.
thought could be possible, and stronger and
Mhm.
resilient, and like all of these things, because we didn't give up, and we chose to get through it, chose to do better, because I could easily just be here, feeling sorry for myself.
Right, and I
But
think,
what
like,
good is that,
that yeah,
right?
back to what you said too, I think there's not enough of that these days, where obviously it's absolutely nice to be validated, to be seen, to be appreciated, absolutely, but, the way life works is believing in yourself first. If you focus on believing in yourself without the validation from others, and you do it solely on believing in yourself, the rest would just be added value. And I think at times it's very easy to flip flop that around, where it's just like you're looking for other people to believe in you now, the doubt, the hesitation. Well, can I really do this? You know what I mean? So that's definitely, important, believing in yourself first. That's really important.
And that's why I think that's what I value so much about my page is it gives you a reminder.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
case you can think of this, Emily, let me just remind
Yeah,
you, and
who
then
you
here's your
are.
post. Yes,
Okay, you did that.
because you are somebody.
So, and then you sent me, so also to anybody who's watching, hopefully by the time they watch this episode, I think it'll still be in time for the workshop, that you sent to me. If anybody DMs, just ask M, you'll send them the program, cost and information for a special offer. What's the, details of that? What date and time?
Absolutely. So I have a workshop coming up on mindset. So it's I'm pulling up the give me one second.
Sure.
I should have had it up and running. Um, so I have a, as I said earlier, I am reading Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. It's all about mindset, right? And that book, I'm on my third round of it, because every time you read it, it's like reading it anew, because you're reading it from a new mindset, right?
Mhm.
And so I wanted to do this workshop um, on it, because it's been it's been an experience. It's been a life-changing experience, because mindset is everything,
It
which is
really is.
part of what I've made a career out of.
Mhm.
And so, how do we reprogram ourselves in order to, or reprogram our mindset in order to do better, whether it's with finances, health,
Mhm.
just all parts of you? How do we, live our best life, be our best selves?
Mhm.
And a lot of that has to do with our limiting beliefs and our belief system, how we grew up, our environment, all of those things developed our belief system today. And how being able to like identify, well, how is my belief system limiting me?
Right.
Why am I not where I want to be? Am I where I want to be? Where do
Mhm.
I want to be? And how can I get there? And
Yeah.
how is my belief system um, limiting me or not allowing for me to get there? And so it's all about how do we reprogram ourselves to do better, and to
Okay.
believe in ourselves. Because I changed my mindset, because I intentionally changed my mindset, and how I was raised, am I able to be where I'm at today?
Right.
I'd not done that, Lord knows where I would be, but I know
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here, you know.
Mhm.
So being able to help, people, whether it's women, men, it's whoever wants to show up,
Yeah.
right? They did that, not just she did that, but they did that.
Right? Now, and when does the
So
6 week, I think it was a 6 week virtual experience. When does that
it's a
start?
6 week virtual experience, and it's going to be, it's going to start on August 2nd. It's going to be
Okay.
every Saturday at
Right.
10 a.m.
Nice.
And so if you're interested, just reach out through my DM to put in just ask Jess, so that way I know that you came from Jess's channel, and
Just ask
you'll
M.
get a
M.
huh?
Just
Just
ask
ask
M.
them,
Yep.
just ask them, and I'll send you the information, and that code word will get you for you said you were going to post this on the 23rd.
Yeah, so I made a post out of it, and then what I can do is maybe do like your Instagram link. I'll connect it to the YouTube episode as well. So if they want to connect with you directly, that makes it a little easier.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. And so, for your audience, they'll get $30 off.
very nice.
So it'll
Okay.
be 67 dollars. And with that, it'll be the 6 weeks, and it'll be like a elevated book club,
I like
if you
that.
will.
Okay. Very nice.
Yes, because it's all about, being able to work. This book is it's a process. It's not
Right.
just a read, it's a
Right.
process. So
Hmm.
there's, read, and then there's application. There's, you read some, and you apply it. And as a group, we will support one another and hold each other accountable to following through with this journey.
I like it. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Maritza. I absolutely love what you're doing with the She Did That movement. We'll look forward to not only your book release, but hopefully, people tune in for your workshop. So yeah, everybody, just ask them, tune in and keep subscribing.